Hey, good night. Hi, good evening, everybody. How y'all doing tonight? I hope everybody's doing fine. I'm doing great, and Chris is doing fine as well. I'm reporting to you tonight from my new man cave. I know you can't see it behind me, but it's it's not all that special. It wouldn't be to most people, but as you can see, I've got all my stuff hanging on the walls, and I've got all my items up there, things that make me happy. It's still a uh, in the works, but it's getting there. So anyway, hi Barry, how you doing? So anyway, again, reporting from my new man cave. It's nice and quiet in here. Moved my computer desk and my computer into this instead of having it out in the corner of the living room like where I had it. Hi, Anthony Gorby. Good to have you on board. Um, Listen, folks. Most of my videos that you guys have seen have been mostly on the political side and what's going on. And But tonight I wanted to change my message a little bit. Okay, so if you could bear with me, I sure would appreciate it. And it's an important one. And I titled it. I call it "Reach Out." And um, the reason I did that is because, like many of us, in the country now, I'm on the eastern shore of Maryland, out in the country, and it's starting to get cold. I'm sure, now winter's starting to set in a lot of areas where you're at in the country. And We're also getting towards the holidays now. Thanksgiving is next week, and then we'll be right on top of Christmas real soon. Um, but the fact remains that I think we kind of we take for granted what we have, and how blessed we are. Um, and what I want to do is I want to try to get you guys on board with this. For the last several years, I've been reaching out to uh, picking one person out of our particular area and the areas that I've been in, that I've lived in the past. Homeless people. Um, I know what they go through because I was one myself at one time during a very harsh winter, over the course of a very harsh winter. So I know what they go through, and I know what how they think. And when you come across a homeless person, a lot of people tend to shy away. I mean, I think that's just a natural reaction. You shy away from it, and you, they're kind of treated like the plague. You don't want to get near them. It's like you're going to catch something. That's not always the case, folks. You know. Um, so what I've done, I'll give you an example of what I did a few years back. Okay, I lived in a town over on the Western Shore, and going to work every day on the bus, I noticed a tent on the side of this river, on this hillside next to this river. And I thought, well, that's an odd place for somebody to camp. So I started asking questions, and after about a week, I got my answer. Well, it turned out it was a homeless person that lived there. So one Saturday, I was taking a walk through the neighborhood, and I decided to go walk down there. And I walked through this small field, and I got down to where the tent was. But before I got any closer, I yelled out, hello, I'm not here to hurt you. My name is Jim. I just want to come in and talk with you. Don't shoot me. I didn't want to take a chance on getting shot. And I didn't hear anything back. So I walked over, and of course, the homeless person wasn't there. So, but I started looking around. I started looking around to what he had, and I noticed, a lot of empty cans and empty food, vegetable cans and so forth laying around and laying in a pile. And there was a burned out campfire there, and I happened to peek in the tent, and there was a sleeping bag there, and it was starting to get pretty cold. It really was. And I thought, I know what this person's going through because I've been there. And I walked, after looking around a little bit. I walked away and went over to the local dollar store. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to see if I can help this person out. I have no idea who they are. I never met them, never saw them. So I went over to the dollar store, and for $20 you can get an awful lot. And I started picking up things that I thought somebody could use. Things like shaving cream, disposable razors, a couple of bars of soap, some toothpaste, a toothbrush, deodorant, a flashlight with a couple extra batteries, and some canned fruit and veggies, some canned goods like that, pork and beans, things like that. A case of water, snack packs, like you give your kids when they go to school, you get little snack packs. I bought a big thing, a big container of those. Some instant coffee and some creamer and a little sugar. Just anything that might make his life a little bit more tolerable. I went home and I had some extra clothing that I was getting rid of, and rather than throw them in the local bin, most people do, I wanted to be more direct. I wanted to make sure that this particular person had those things. So I put together. I had a spare winter coat that I wasn't wearing anymore. I had a couple of warm blankets that I wasn't using. I had a spare. I had a couple pairs of heavy socks, like you use for hunting. I had, one of these beanies, these winter beanies. Pair of gloves, warm pair of gloves. I got him. I just gave him a knife, a fork, and a spoon. Just instead of eating with his hands or his fingers. And even bought at the dollar store. Bought him one of these lighters instead of using matches, so we could light his campfire. The old-fashioned can opener. This is a lifesaver. So it's things like that. I even grabbed an old cooking pot that I wasn't using and brought that down. So I left him that care package. I went back and he wasn't there. So I left it on his lawn chair. He had a fold-up lawn chair outside his tent. I left it all on the lawn chair. I didn't leave a note or anything like that. I just left the package there. Well, I had moved away from that town. That's at the end of that winter, and I'd say probably maybe about 3 months later. It was in the spring. In the springtime, I was in that town. I was meeting up with some buddies of mine to go to a local bar and hang out with them on a Saturday afternoon. So I decided, I said, well, since I'm in town, maybe I'll take a walk over and see if he's still there. And when I started walking up to where he was, I saw a town truck. One of those municipal trucks, dump truck, and the yellow light was flashing on top of the cab of the truck, and there were two young guys out there, and they were tearing the tent down and throwing all the stuff, collecting it up and throwing it in the back of the dump truck. And I asked one of the guys there, I said, hi, what's going on? And he said, well, we were ordered to clean this up by the town officials. And I said, well, what happened to the guy that was here? He says, well, did you know him? I said, no, I never met him before. And he said, well, he had died of a heart attack over the winter, just before spring hit. And that really hit me hard. I didn't know this man at all. He was a total stranger. I didn't know who he was, where he was from, and I just walked away, and I felt such a sense of loss, like I had lost a friend that I knew. But I called my buddies up and I said, I'm not going to be able to make it, and I went home. And I really sat down and I thought, my God, that poor man. But then I came to the realization that, you know what, he died knowing that somebody out there cared enough about him to leave that care package. So he didn't freeze and maybe he didn't go hungry or he didn't have to dumpster dive that particular night or for a couple of nights. But he died knowing that at least somebody out there cared. And that's the message I want to get to you all, folks. I'm sure there's people in your area that you see in your towns, your little towns, your cities that are homeless. To make that gesture, yeah, a lot of people tell me, well, yeah, I throw clothes in the bin for the homeless, like for the needy. I give clothing and things like that to the local shelter, which is great. That's great, but to do it on an immediate basis, you know what I mean? To actually give it to that one particular person that that's living in a tent, that's living in a cardboard box somewhere out in the woods. You see, and you ask yourself, well, how come the homeless people don't go to shelters? Well, a lot of times, folks, like myself, I didn't go to a shelter. I lived out in the woods. I lived out in the freezing cold. Shelter's a lot more dangerous than you think. And homeless people feel safer when they're by themselves, even though they have to deal with the elements, and those elements can be real harsh. So, again, my message is reach out to an individual. Just pick one individual. We can't save the world, but maybe we can just save one person. Because there's one thing you have to understand about homeless people is that they're not looking for a handout. They're looking for a hand up. You can't tell who that person is or what their background is, what circumstances led them to be homeless. You can't tell that by looking at them. Again, it goes back to you can't judge a book by its cover. So I would ask all of you to consider putting a care package together. Seek out someone in your area, in your local area, and give it to them. No accolades, no fancy thing. Just the basics. That's all any homeless person wants, just to be able to get through a couple of nights, to wake up to another day. So that's so important. And it's not just because it's the Christian thing to do. It's because it's the right thing to do. We're not our brother's keeper. Well, I've heard that over and over again. But you know what? Everybody needs it. Everybody needs a little helping hand every once in a while. And it's for $20. You could go to a dollar store. My God, the things you could pick up that would help. That would help a homeless person. And there's so much untapped talent out there of these homeless people. Anybody out there that owns a business, you'd be amazed at what kind of talent you could get out of individuals like that. They're not all drug addicts. They're not all alcoholics. They're down on their luck. They've lost their homes. They've lost their apartment. Through job loss or whatever. Through divorce. That's another one. They have no place. They have no place to go. They have nobody that cares about them. And you'd be amazed how good it feels and how much good you can do by just a little gesture like that. Same goes for the fact that even though we're getting into holidays, this should be something that we as individuals could carry on all throughout the year. But now with the winter coming, you'd be surprised how many people die out there who are left homeless. They die out there in the cold because of it. A lot of homeless people that I know, they purposely get themselves locked up by the police just so they can have someplace warm to sleep and get a warm meal, even though it is in jail. They do that on purpose. They purposely get themselves arrested just so they could spend the winter a couple of months in jail. That's really sad. That's really sad to have to do that. But they lose hope. You know, you can't sugarcoat it any other way. They lose hope. You don't see that spark in their eye. And when you do something, when you go out of your way to do something like that, you'd be amazed at what you can accomplish and how you can change somebody's life like that. That happened with me. One man stood up, and I'm going to be honest with you, folks. I wouldn't be where I am today without him. And he was a total stranger to me at the time. And he and I became best of friends, almost like family, because he believed in me. You know, he saw something in me that said, this isn't right. This is not what this man deserves. So be that person. Be that person, y'all. You know, same goes for Christmas. You know, we've got families out there, folks, they're not going to be able to do anything for their kids for Christmas. And that's so sad. You know, we all have friends like that, coworkers like that, neighbors like that. They're not looking for a handout. But to open your hearts and, for example, save 20 from between now and say 2 weeks before Christmas. Take $25 a week, set it aside. Hell, we blow 20. Think about how you blow $25 on nothing. Take $25 a week and just set it aside. Go get a gift card for that, a Visa gift card or something that they could use at different stores, so they can go out and buy their kids something for Christmas, so their children, young children, can make sure that they have a decent Christmas instead of absolutely nothing. You know, that's what we should consider. You know, we do that every year. You know, and it's very important. It's very important for people to know that they're not forgotten. You know, because holidays can be a real sad time for a lot of people. While we're enjoying ourselves under a roof with all the decorations and the gift giving and the being with friends and being with family, they're sitting around a campfire by themselves with absolutely nothing, wondering if anything's ever going to change. So be that change, maybe be that change agent in that person's life. Be the one that says, you know what, this is not right, and here, this is for you. You know, so again, you know, reach out. Think about reaching out to individuals like this. You know, families that won't be able to afford a Christmas this year for their kids. A homeless person that's out there right now freezing in the cold. You know, I know it's cold here. It's been getting cold here under the freezing mark for the last couple of nights. You'd be surprised at how grateful they are. So that's my message, folks. Real simple. Just reach out and help someone. You know, again, we can't change the world, but we can't save the world, but we can certainly, hopefully, save somebody. I learned that lesson with that interaction with that gentleman. And again, I never even met him. I had no idea who he was, what he looked like, what his circumstances that led him to be homeless like that, living in a tent alongside a riverbank. So, do that. Join me this year. Join me this season, this winter season, in reaching out to somebody like that. Okay? So that's my message, and I hope we can change somebody's life, or at least help them a little bit. Okay? So you all have a blessed evening, and I love you all for watching my videos. I really do appreciate it. Please share, please, please, please. I beg of you, this one, if not, I know you've shared so many of my videos before, but this one in particular, this one is the special one. This one is the one that really needs to be shared out there. So I hope that, I'd love to see it go viral on Facebook. I don't know about YouTube. If anybody out there knows how to take this video and put it out there on YouTube, you have my express permission to do so. I don't know how to do that. I'm not that electronically intellectual, but if anybody knows how to put this video out there on YouTube, then you have my absolute permission. But let's get this message shared all over the place. And this is not just for America, but this is for everybody in every country all around the world. Okay? You all have a fantastic night, and we'll talk to you real soon. Love you. Bye-bye.